Welcome. My name is Michael Mastro. I'm with Transformational Vedic Astrology. You can learn this TVA astrology at American Institute of Vastu.com, or you can get a reading at vastucreations.com. Today we're going to look at the chart for Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, born July 28th, 1929, 1430 hours, Southampton, New York. If you look to the eastern horizon when she was born, you would see the constellation associated with Libra rising at 25 degrees. Any planets that are close to that 25-degree mark, like Rahu and Ketu and Mars, have a lot of impact in her chart. So we're going to see how the planets are operating, and then we're going to see when the planets are operating and what we could do to remedy the chart. So first, let's see how the planets are operating. We know that whatever she's working on in this life is where the Multrikona signs fall in the houses. So the Multrikona signs, so planets are one planet rules two different signs in many cases, but there's one planet that has the most affinity with that certain sign. So those are the Multrikona signs. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11 are the Multrikona signs. And we know if any of the Multrikona signs fall in the Dustana houses, the challenging houses, 6th, 8th, or the 12th, they become malefic. So we know that Virgo, the 6th sign, ruled by Mercury, is a functional malefic along with Ketu and Rahu. That does not mean that they'll always cause harm, but they can cause harm. Both in the birth chart and the transit chart. So let's look and see what she's working on in this lifetime. So we see the 7th sign of Libra in the 1st house. She's working on her beauty, her personality, her longevity. She's working on, we see Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in the 3rd house, working on communications, expressing herself through journalism. She's working on Aquarius, 11th sign, ruled by Saturn in the 5th house, children, education, and creativity, investments. Then we see the 1st sign, Aries, ruled by Mars in the house of relationships. She's working on relationships. She had many powerful relationships in her life. She's working on her career, 4th sign, Cancer, ruled by Moon, and then income, ruled by Sun, 5th sign, Leo, ruled by Sun, so working on income, and then spiritual growth through letting go of attachments. So those are the main things she's working on in this lifetime. Let's look and see how the planets are operating. So Sun is at 12 degrees. It is ruling the house of income and friendships. It's placed in the house of career. So through her connections, she got career in journalism through her stepfather, which is Sun. Now, Mercury is afflicting Sun. Mercury is end of life experiences, separation, depression, addiction, things like that. So her first father, he had an alcohol problem. Parents got divorced. So she didn't get a lot of support from her first father, but the 12th house has to do with stepfather. So Mercury conjunct Sun gives us a strong stepfather figure. So give Sun being here, Mercury being here, gave a career in writing, publishing, journalism, being a critic as well, journalistic critic. That's it, I think. Moon is at 2 degrees. It's also weak. Any planet that's In infant state, less than 5 degrees, cannot protect or promote its own significations. Any planet like Venus that's more than 25 degrees is said to be in old age, also cannot protect or promote its own significations. Now, Moon is in it's the career. It's placed in the house of partnerships, so gives a career through this journalism. And her mom gave strong influence, and she was a socialite, so gave her the ability to be in the public eye. But because Moon is weak, Moon is mind and emotions, there was some depression. And so let's see here. Mars is at 21 degrees, close to the most effective point, afflicted by Rahu. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's so ruling the house of relationships. So gives difficulty in relationships, some courage, some property. She had a lot of properties. Mercury's at 9 degrees. It's the functional malefic planet, afflicting Sun, causing loss of father at an early age, 8 years old. Gave spiritual growth through journalism, being a critic, and gave her ability. This is foreign land, so foreign languages. She was bilingual, but also brought depression, feeling of separation in her life. So let's see. Jupiter's at 16 degrees. It's weak because it's in the 8th house. So that brings, it's ruling this house of communication, self-expression, entrepreneurial success. So bring some difficulties into communication, difficulties with husband and children. Jupiter represents husband and children. Difficulties with inheritance. It's in the house of inheritance. When Onassis died, there was a big fight over the inheritance. Difficulties with media and communications, harassment by paparazzi. Venus is at 28 degrees, so it's in old age, weak, close to the most effective point, so it has a lot of impact. So it gave difficulty. Venus's relationships gave difficulty with relationships. It's in this house of death-like experiences and transformations and drama in relationships. Drama with her, difficulties with her health. This is the house of health and longevity. So it affected her longevity, but it gave her beauty and an eye for beauty. She was a fashion icon, gave her design talents, and that's it, I think. Saturn's at 1 degree, also weak in infant state. Saturn represents the house of children, and it is placed in the house of communication. So let's see, gave some creativity, but Saturn also represents lifespan, so shorter lifespan. Rahu and Ketu always opposite each other, Ketu being the spiritual nature and Rahu being the material nature. So there's always this balancing going on. So she desired to be in a relationship, and she was a very spiritual person. So there's I want, I don't want, this kind of tug of war between Rahu and Ketu. Now, Ketu and Rahu are at the most effective point. So they are afflicting 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So Rahu is afflicting relationships. So she, her relationships, husbands died. They were difficult relationships. John F. Kennedy was having a lot of affairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, afflicting income. Income went up and down after the death of JFK. 6, 7, longevity. 8, 9, communications. She was very soft-spoken. And then K2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, afflicting children. She lost 2 children shortly after childbirth or during childbirth. One was stillborn. And 6, 7, afflicting partnerships and relationships. 8, 9, father. So she lost her father at an early age. And that's the main things. Now, let's look at the timing of events. So she was born in a K2 Venus. So Venus giving beauty, eye for beauty. K2 giving spiritual nature. She became First Lady in 61, just at the tail end of a Sun period. Sun is government and politics. Her husband died in 63 during a Moon Rahu period. So Rahu, end of relationship. Let's see. Onassis died in 75 during a Mars Mercury period. Mercury is end of life. Afflicting Sun, father-like figure, which Onassis was much older, father-like figure. So let's see here, Mercury and Mars. Mars is partnership. So Mercury afflicting the partnership, end of life. She got cancer, lymphoma, died in 94 during a Rahu moon period. So Rahu afflicting longevity again. And if we look at the transit at that time, in 94, May of 94, we see that Mercury, which is end-of-life experiences in the house of death-like experiences, at the most effective point. It's at 23 degrees. Most effective point is 25, so big one there. And K2 is afflicting natal Saturn, which is longevity. They're both around 2 degrees. So they're the main points of the chart. If you would like a reading, you can go to vastucreations.com under services. If you'd like to learn Transformational Vedic Astrology and get certified as an astrologer, this is very easy to learn. And as you can see, it's quite accurate. You go to American Institute of Vastu.com. Thank you for listening. Namaste.